Black Market Narrative.
Hey, everybody. Here we go. Welcome to Black Market Live. I am one of your hosts. I'm Ryan Sidoti from the Black Market team, and I'm going to be your host tonight. We're going to be able to pull some questions from the chat and talk all about the Massiverse, including the latest issue of Supermassive. Joining me, we have several members of the creative team behind that issue, including writer and co-creator of Radiant Black, Kyle, in the latest series to join the Massiverse. No one. We've got Kyle Higgins.
How's it going, everyone? Nice to see you all again. I feel like we see each other. We've been seeing each other a lot on little square boxes on computer screens.
We've also got Melissa Flores, the writer and co-creator of The Dead Lucky and co-writer on Radiant Pink.
Hello.
Hey. Writer and co-creator of Rogue Sun, Ryan Parrott. Hey, Ryan.
I was told this was going to be a Vanderpump Rules reunion special, and I'm very disappointed.
There's still time.
Then we've got Matt Groom, writer and co-creator for Inferno Girl Red.
Hi, everybody. Sorry, I'm not from Vanderpump Rules yet.
We'll get there.
And of course, the editor and designer of all of these books, Mr. Michael Busuttil.
I'm a Vanderpump. I don't know what that is, but that's
I didn't
me.
know until
I rules.
I didn't know until recently that was a thing.
It's a total thing. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
I don't know what it is, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Glad I could take this
Better off.
pod, then take it right off the rails within 2 minutes and 14 seconds. So very proud of this.
Well, there's no birds dying on stream yet, so we're doing okay.
I've got some Mr. Massiverse fans in the chat already. I'm so happy.
Oh, I hate you all.
Wait, there's a chat?
Yeah, Ryan.
Yeah.
Click on the comments tab, upper
Yep.
right corner.
Oh, hi, everybody.
I would also like to note there is a private chat and a comment section, so don't mix up the tabs.
Let's go, Mr. Massiverse.
Excellent.
Let's not.
Excellent.
Let's see here.
Well, great. Well, congratulations, guys, on the release of Supermassive 2023.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much.
It's amazing to be finally here after basically a year of production on this one in some form or another.
Yeah, I'm excited to talk a bit about that. And I did just see the comment asking about spoilers. I know this issue just came out today, so we're gonna keep it a little spoiler free for a bit. We'll make it clear when we get into spoilers, because we do want to talk spoilers for those of you that are in the chat that want to hear this, and so you have something to come back to after you read it. So you can hang out for a bit with us, ask your questions if you have any before you read it, but then we'll give you a sign to head out and come back after you read it. So just so everybody's aware.
Now, the real question is, which Ryan are we talking about here?
That's true. That's true. Because I have a lot of knowledge on Tech Jacket, so that's
Specifically.
going to be a tough one.
Yeah.
But yeah. So I guess if we want to talk a little spoiler free before we get into it, because I feel like most of what we have to talk about is going to be spoiler based. I'm going to pitch it over to, I don't know, Michael maybe, who wants to give me a little bit of a spoiler free pitch for this issue, something to kind of, whet the appetite for somebody that hasn't quite read it yet.
Okay. Spoiler free.
Mm-hmm.
You know the Holy Grail, like from the Holy Grail. Let's go get it, baby. Supermassive 2023.
That's right. One thing that I really want to talk about, but this is going to get a bit spoilery. I don't know. Do we want to get into it now, or
We can do a pitch. We can probably talk about it a little more broadly. Or Matt, did you have a different?
I was just going to say, like, if we want to jump into spoilers, maybe we can just see if there's anyone who hasn't read it yet but has questions. We can knock those out of the way, and then we can dive in.
Oh,
Yeah.
Thank you, Wyatt.
Yeah, Wyatt says, or if we end up taking this into an audio, we'll read the comments as well. Wyatt Lane says, this issue felt like a video game in the best way. The humor was fantastic as well. You guys killed it. I get that. Especially there's certain challenges throughout it and everything. It definitely had that vibe.
Yeah, I think we're all video gamers to greater and lesser extent, so there's going to be some influences there for sure.
I think to answer your original question, Ryan, so conceptually, Supermassive is our, for anyone who is going, what is a Supermassive? It is our, at this point now, once a year crossover special, one-shot special. So it's a 50-page story. It came out today, our 2023 edition, and this is where our heroes of the Massiverse team up for an adventure. So this year it is it's more on the fantasy side, as all of our characters are in very interesting new status quos in their main series, and this particular mission just so happens to be for a magical relic that may or may not be able to help them with all of their particular problems. That is, if they can survive getting to it and figuring out all of the secrets that lie within. So it takes place in between everyone's, where they last landed where their last issue came out in the case of Rogue Sun, Dead Lucky, and Radiant Black. But before we start our new arcs, kicking off with Rogue Sun issue 13, which is on final order cutoff on Monday, actually.
That's right.
Glad you
June
know that. Thank
14th.
you.
I was actually thinking about it, and I was realizing that we could be like a D&D party. And I was like trying to assign like who would be like the barbarian and the paladin
Oh, that's
and
good.
all that fun stuff.
Okay, let's work this out. We can do this really quick.
I knew I would get him with this.
Yeah. Okay. Oh boy.
Can I be the
all
minstrel?
half-casters is
That'd be
the
a bard,
problem.
I think.
Yeah, bard. There you go.
Bard. That works.
I'll be the bard.
Maybe everyone's a bard is the problem.
Yeah. All I know is what I saw in the movie.
I feel like Rogue Sun, if it would be in all other circumstances, maybe a paladin.
Yep. Yeah, sure. With some specific spells, but definitely a few spells.
And I feel like Marshall, if we had to pick one of the group to be the bardy, charming kind of dude, that would be him.
Yep.
And
Does inspire.
yeah, I figure BB would be one of the like human knights,
Yeah.
Maybe a ranger mechanically.
maybe a ranger. So what would that put Nathan?
Oh, sorcerer
I was
maybe.
gonna say like priest or sorcerer or something
Yeah.
along
Full caster.
support class.
I just realized this is how you guys feel when I talk about sports.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
I totally get it.
Ryan, you've never played Dungeons and Dragons, right?
Nope.
I want to play Dungeons
we
and
gotta do
Dragons
that.
with you so badly.
I'd be
I
like,
think
I
you'd
feel
love
like
it,
you'd be into
legitimately.
it. Yeah.
I think that'd be really cool having you guys play, but as your characters that you write for as well. That'd be really fun.
Don't think.
I mean,
there's
I know,
not a
I know.
note on my phone already working out mechanics.
We've
You know,
talked
I
about
think
this.
I knew that too, which is why it made me. Yeah.
Okay.
That
That
one thing
was
that
my area, my swerve. We can go back.
well, before, and I think this can get be a little spoiler free here. Can you take us a little bit through the process between the release of the last Supermassive and how you landed on this story and any iterations or challenges you guys came up with along the way and how it might have evolved into what it finally became?
Well, we started the process we were discussing this over the last few days. We've been doing a number of kind of podcast interviews. We believe we started writing it in August, but we started talking about it in April of last year, which means that's only a few months after, it's 1 month after Supermassive 2022 came out. The nature of these I talked about this a little bit earlier today in the newsletter, in our Black Market narrative newsletter. The nature of something like this, a big 50-page special drawn by one artist and colored by one colorist, takes quite a bit of time to put together and runway just to make the thing. But we also all knew we had big kind of status quo changes we were all about to hit in our books before the Supermassive were to come out. But it meant writing the new status quos in Supermassive before we'd written them in the series. So it's had a long runway on it.
Yeah, I was thinking last night how many different iterations the stories went through when you really think back to what our first concepts of what this was going to be, which I can't spoil because we might use down the line in something else. But a lot of it changed so much. Like I went back and looked at some of the original notes and I was like, wow, like that's not even close to what we came up with. But yeah, one of the things, and I don't know if we've said it before, but it should be rated. The reason that we do the Supermassive book is because we all got really frustrated with like when, you read some of the big two books and you're enjoying your comic and you like the story or following a Thor line or something. I just use Thor all the time because it's the one that I like the most that got completely hijacked and taken off the rails. But I always love, it's like you love a run by a writer and then all of a sudden it's 3 months in and they're like, oh, by the way, they got to go off for 4 issues and be part of this crossover. And it totally derails the entire story. And we don't want to do that. So we've always been trying to figure out, is there a way to still have that crossover and have stakes and have it be fun and exciting but without it derailing everything that everybody's working on.
And one thing I feel like you mentioned that sometimes that'll happen where a character will go off on its own thing, but then not only do they disappear from their own story, but sometimes they act different, if for better, because they're written by someone else a lot of the time. So in this case, though, you each get to write your own characters in this instance. Is that right?
Yeah, the basic way that it works is we all brainstorm the sort of top level story together. We normally split it into, like with this, we split it into roughly 4 equal parts. Everybody sort of takes a pass at that 12 to 15 pages, whatever it is. And then we do like 6 more passes going through of everyone doing like, okay, like that line's not quite how I'd do it, or can we tweak this, etc., etc. So by the end of it, everyone has touched both the whole issue and their entire character across the whole issue to make sure that like the arc tracks and the voice is right and all of that.
Yeah, it's actually very similar to in TV, like the way that a writer's room kind of works, where it's like you have showrunner kind of in there. I think Kyle kind of acts because he's got a lot more books going on than we do. So he sort of acts as a showrunner in those situations and kind of we come in and we all sort of throw ideas around. And then it's like if you're in a TV show that's really behind, it's like, okay, everybody go take an actor, a scene, and everybody kind of walks off and does it and you Frankenstein the whole draft. That's very similar to the way that we do this.
Yeah, we're like a TV show that's very behind.
Yeah, that's exactly.
What I thought was really cool about it was that you had, even though we all took passes on and everybody's different characters, I think the characters were also distinct and so interesting and so unique that we, like I like for me, like I had very little notes when it came to BB's voice. I feel like everybody like got where she was coming from and who she was. And so like I did my pages and then I did like a voice pass on BB, but honestly, I did very little. I feel like people knew who she was, how she would act. And I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, I mean, one of the real big benefits to being such a kind of closely knit group here.
I was just about to say that, yeah.
Yeah, everyone is very aware of everyone else's status quo, but also what the smallest thing could do to throw off the status quo. And so, like, for example, Radiant Black, ending things with the big only one of you can be Radiant Black moments at the to close out issue 24. From that and the events in issue 23, then heading into Supermassive, it's like that could be a tonal whiplash if we're not careful. And everyone understood that. And so, like, I was, everyone helped me massage it so we could make it work. And I've been a part of events on the DC side of things, like earlier in my career, where it's like everyone has that, like they have the good nature of that, but there are so many people involved across so many books that just making the stuff is often a minor miracle. Yeah. Also, speaking of, I want to show. And we saw this real quick. So yes, we actually are doing a reprint on the Supermassive from last year. And here, I'll show you. I have that right here. So that's our cover for that. It's having its final order cut off on Monday. But what's really cool about this is that it is going to be, the price is wrong on it. I believe it's going to be a $4.99 reprint, but it is filled with Massiveverse back matter. So we've put together a number of back matter pieces on characters in the Massiveverse. Here, I'll show them. I've got this one here on Radiant Black, for example. So this is really kind of modeled after, in my mind, growing up with some of the Marvel intro to the Marvel Universe handbooks and encyclopedias and stuff. Like, we wanted to put something together that is like a great kind of 64-page, basically like sampler pack on the universe, and our first done-in-one contained story from last year. And so that will be coming in, Michael, is it three or 4 weeks? It should be on stands.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. So there we go.
All right. We've been dancing a little bit around spoilers, and I see a couple of questions that want to get into spoiler territory. So we're going to move into that in a second. But right before we do, also from Owen's reviews, also, can we take a time to appreciate Daniele and Walter just crushed it with the art and the colors. So before we transition over and send anyone away that doesn't want to be spoiled, yeah, just a moment to appreciate how they absolutely knocked it out of the park.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, this was a fun reunion for all of us with these guys.
Mm-hmm. All right. So one of the things we've been dancing around, and again, this is going to be spoilers for Supermassive, and we're going to talk a bit about where each of these books ended as well. So I guess spoilers for Radiant Black 24, Rogue Sun 11, and so on, because it's directly impacting what is said in Supermassive. So if you've read Supermassive, you've already been spoiled for those things anyways. So that was one of the things that I think almost all of you have touched on so far tonight, is that where they're at and these big changing moments, these things that how did you navigate that? Because they're all literally going through this great, transition with what they're dealing with. And then you're going to go ahead and put them into this thing that should be its own standalone thing that's kind of like easy to digest and wrap your head around who these characters are. But they're literally in this moment of becoming somewhat of a different character in terms of like what they're going through. So I know each of you might have a different thing to say about that. Rogue Sun's literally possessed by another character in this moment. Dead Lucky has just joined forces with the very things she's been fighting against this entire time. Radiant Black is, kind of a toss-up between who's actually going to take the mantle. Inferno Go Red is in a completely different universe. And again, spoiler warning, get out now. Who Thomas in and how all that worked up. So I want to hear from each of you about what it was like trying to navigate, how to represent your character or this character in this story in a way that makes sense for somebody coming in a standalone way, but also true to, follow that arc and where they left off.
Well, for the Dead Lucky specifically, this actually, Supermassive actually shaped that first arc. We actually had planned on ending it a pretty different kind of way. And then as we were talking about one of the initial pitches for Supermassive, it ended up actually morphing to a different thing, but the character kind of was in kind of the same place, but we wanted to put her in a state where she was really grieving. And so it was through that process that we decided that we would lose Eddie, her best friend, and that she would join Morrow. And that put her in a really interesting position where we set her up for the new arc for some really cool things that are coming in her own personal journey, but also the new arc starts a little time away from 6. So 7 starts, a little bit of a time jump away from 6. And so you have this little window for BB where she's processing her grief for Eddie and like working for Morrow and kind of closed off to everything. And that's a perfect opportunity for her to be in this supermassive crossover. So that was specifically engineered for that, where we ended 6 and when we start out 7, there's this pocket of time for BB where she just is dealing with her grief in a not super fun way. And it just was a perfect moment for her to really, especially given the subject matter, to really deal with her friend that she did not expect to lose in that particular time. And the Morrow stuff, I mean, it's a perfect opportunity for her to be in a cool private jet being flown to Europe to get there.
Yeah, and so much of this story, and I'm sure you guys can talk about, is about finding the magic cure for each of their individual issues that they're dealing with. And so to have this holy grail that could possibly resurrect somebody or bring somebody back, I mean, each of them kind of has this thing that they're striving for, that they might have an answer worth chasing down.
Yeah, the overall kind of design of the whole narrative is built around this kind of it's a quest story, but it's also an object that could be the answer to, in one way or another, or even just the hope of an answer in the case of Nathan and Marshall, to everyone's problem. And so that is very much by design. And I think, pretty early on, it's probably like our second or third call when we kind of came to that realization and decision. It just kind of locked in thematically very quickly for all of us, where we all just kind of went, oh, well, I can do this, what this can represent for Bibiana, what this can represent for Thomason, what it can represent for Caleb, and for Nathan and Marshall, maybe the answer to, a magic fix to their impossible kind of dilemma here. And so building the arc for the characters in a way where we knew, building the Supermassive story off of these character arcs where, we're all doing 6-issue arcs more or less. And so it ends up breaking, they break at kind of really clean points for us to do something like this. So, yeah. And like I said, for Radiant Black in particular, it's something where by the end of the story, I think, you can kind of see there's potentially a return to rational thinking, as far as there may not be there are no magic fixes here. We're going to have to make this hard decision.
Yeah.
So it slots in kind of perfectly in between.
Yeah. And Ryan, I imagine this was a pretty cool opportunity to get to show Caleb a bit more, and especially like, his death in a sense, and, get to play around a little bit more with that character and, and how he'll interact with everybody else going on this adventure that in a way he's leading, which I thought was pretty cool.
Yeah, and I know that we didn't see the thing, but he put up a really, really good fight against Inferno Thomason. Like she didn't push him around at all. It was like 51-49 that he was gonna win. But I was trying to remember actually, like, did the Grail part come? This is actually to everybody. Did the Grail part come before I told you guys Caleb was gonna be in it, or did he come after?
I think it came after.
It was after.
I think we knew Caleb was going to be in it very early. And I think
we just didn't know exactly how, right?
That led us to like sort of the past as a general concept coming in a number of different ways that we explored and eventually landed on the Grail.
Yeah. Because he's a knight, so it's helpful. Yeah.
Well, it really came from, yes, the past, but then also we settled on the idea of putting them all essentially in an environment on a quest for something that would have ties to Caleb and then Thomason's past, which dates into like medieval fantasy magic kind of territory. And So I think Matt and Michael, I think you guys came back with the Grail, the actual Grail pitch.
I think what happened was we kept Michael and I were talking about it as a Holy Grail-esque thing.
Yeah.
And at a certain point, we're like, well, you know what? Especially because spoilers, we know it's not actually the Holy Grail. So we
were like, we can talk about the magic cup for 50 pages if we want, but that doesn't seem better actually.
And ultimately, what I really, really like about it is that it does kind of, in our Massiverse sort of way, it remixes elements and tropes of genre and just, you know, at a certain point, we touch on the very idea of the power of myth, and we're talking about that in 2023 superhero books and what that means, and we see how all of our characters are drawn in by the shorthand of a Holy Grail, and what that type of, and the idea of myths not being what they're made out to be, or you can read into it however you like, but it is something that ultimately thematically we were able to kind of I think, do our thing with a little bit, and that's part of what I think our approach on these books has been thus far, and will continue to be.
So now I want to talk.
I just saw in the chat, Tyler MC was like, Inferno Girls 1, Rogue Sun 0. Easy, Tyler.
Oh no, don't say that. Don't say that anymore. Ryan's gonna be focused on retribution for the next.
Oh yeah, right. The whole thing in there. The word Inferno will not appear in Rogue Sun. Never.
That's like
going to be
taking
hard.
That's like taking the word stretch out of the Fantastic Four lexicon. Like
he was on fire. So yeah.
Yeah, I remember one time we were brainstorming something, and then like we ended up with some sort of the idea that there might be a conflict between BB and Radiant Black, and Kyle was like, I don't think that'd be a fair fight, and I was like, ow, okay,
oh, yeah, well,
never mind then.
Whoops.
She can fight Shift.
Oh.
No, she
Sure,
can fight
Kyle.
Radiant Black.
Good night, everybody.
She saves. Well, she saves Nathan and Marshall in this story, so I have to eat my words on that one.
I actually really liked writing BB. Like, I really enjoy. I got to write the scene where they first go in and they run into all the statues and all that stuff. And
the key.
I had a lot of the key, which is also planted in Rogue Sun #1, by the way. If you guys are paying attention out there, that was waiting for that.
No, I missed it.
But yeah, I really enjoyed writing BB from that scene. That was a lot of fun. She was the one I was the most scared of writing because I was like, I don't want to mess it up. But I actually really liked, and also, man, you could do it. I can see why you made Radiant Black a two-hander, because Marshall and Nathan are fun because they're just so diametrically opposed.
Fun.
It's always nice to play with that.
So did each person get to take a challenge? What is this? Ryan Parrott once mentioned that if Rogue Sun gets to issue 100, he would make a bird villain named Ryan Parrott.
Ryan, when did you say that?
Look forward to a villain named Kyle Higgins.
Look, I drink a lot, and if we get to 100, I will 100% do that.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, Kylo Riggins will make an appearance in a two-hander.
That's a great
we'll
name.
admit to that right now.
You guys rock. Thank you for all the questions and for being along here, guys, for the chat. We haven't got you guys.
Oh,
yet,
yeah.
Thank you.
Fun to read. Yeah.
Oh boy.
I want to know about the mental gymnastics of Inferno Girl Red not being in this.
Oh yeah. Well, no. What I said was Cassier is not in this.
I did hear that.
True.
Yes, it was very
I
clear.
did not lie. Yeah, I mean, because Inferno Girl Red and the last Supermassive, like Cassie's story is still kind of catching up to the last Supermassive, and we didn't want to create this, say, Fast and the Furious-esque strange timeline situation where the order's all jumbled. So I think we decided very, very early on, like, let's just give her a break and also establish, just for our own sanity, that like not every Massiverse character is going to be in every Supermassive. That's not sustainable. And also we want to have the freedom to be able to take the story wherever we want it without any sort of commitment. So we're sort of using that to, like, in some ways, like, teach people, like, some people will miss out sometimes, others that will come unexpectedly. You'll never know what to predict. So we had her out. But then when we started talking about where the story was going, and the fact that it would be medieval, and the fact that we wanted something of an antagonist who would then sort of come into the fold and have a thematic mirror with everybody else, it occurred to me that there is a lineage of Inferno girls like there is with the Rogue Sons, and that's something that we've established in the book. And it allowed me to bring in some of the world-building stuff that I had figured out for Inferno Girl Red but hadn't got to in the books yet, which is the idea that the Gauntlet is multiversal and the mission of the Gauntlet is multiversal, and you can't hang on to it forever because its power is immense, but it will burn through you eventually, and it's unhealthy to latch onto that. At some point you have to let it go and let it find the next person that it needs. So it just so happened that all of these pieces that we had fit perfectly for what we needed, with no real change needed to the Inferno Girl Red mythos. And it just, it allows us to also bring in that big surprise that we love to have for Supermassives. You know, I think even if it, like last time we had that, the gatefold fold out was a big production surprise. And in this one, we didn't have that because it's not a surprise if you do it twice, right? But instead we had some narrative surprises. One of them was finalized quite late in the game. Then we didn't know if we'd get that. So we wanted to get this one squared away. And yes, that is the other one.
Can I interrupt 1 second?
Views.
Abel is in the chat. The
Abel's
artist
in the
Rogue
chat,
Sun is
yeah.
in the chat. I just wanted to shout
Abel.
out. I will get you pages tomorrow, man. I'm so sorry.
I just want to say sorry while we're talking to Abel. Hey, Abel. Abel turned in some designs today for Rogue Sun Volume 3. Oh, boy. I'm so excited for you guys to get to see what we're doing in this arc.
Yeah.
Awesome.
While
We never
we're
get to
doing
talk,
this,
so
I
it's nice
don't know
to
if
see you,
he's still around, but Gerardo was in the chat as well.
Oh, was he?
That's right.
Yeah. Our No One Massive verse pal.
Hey, Geraldo. If you're still here.
Yeah.
Geraldo, I will also get you pages tomorrow.
This is going to turn into a whole. We're going to start talking about work. Sorry, guys.
Yeah. If French comes in, I'm going to run away.
To answer that question about Todd, no,
well, let's read it
required,
for
right?
We might do this for audio as well, Matt, and I always forget that.
Oh, sure,
so,
yeah, please.
So what we're talking about for the audio crowd, Owen's Reviews asked who here sold their soul to Todd McFarlane in order to get that medieval Spawn cameo at the end.
So I now have this little timer that counts down whenever I edit a comic, and we don't know exactly what's going to happen when it hits 0, but it's going to be bad.
So it was Michael.
Yeah,
Michael sold his soul.
Yeah, no one sold the soul. It was a very generous thing for Todd to do. He, because I think like it was something that we brought up in the earliest versions of the conversation in a very sort of like offhand, like, oh, it's medieval times. You know what else is medieval? And I think we also said like, oh, that'd be cool, but you know, it's probably not going to happen. And then we were at San Diego Comic-Con last year, Kyle, and you and I happened to run into Mr. McFarlane, and you introduced yourself and you pissed everything out, and he was like, yeah, sounds great. And we're like, oh, okay, cool.
Well, it was also,
and then obviously
it's like, yeah, but it's a convention. You don't, I didn't take that. We didn't take that as a yes. It was more like mentioning, hey, we're working on something that like this could be really cool. And then we followed up.
But he didn't say, no, that I will never allow that to happen. He was like, interesting.
He did not. Yeah.
Yeah, I was thrilled, man. I'm such a huge Spawn fan. So like for me, like this was like reason I wanted to do an Image comic book was because I followed all the artists and I loved Todd and I from Spider-Man to Spawn. And so like the idea that we could actually get that in, I know we all kind of talked about it, like that'd be cool, but I don't think we ever really believed it would happen. And then it sort of just did in like one email. I was next to you when you got the email, right, Kyle?
Yeah, we were at a
because you showed me somewhere at WonderCon, and I like lost my little mind. So yeah, it was amazing. Todd's the best. I can't believe we got to do that. Such a freaking crazy ending.
Yeah, so a couple questions in the chat. You know,
is there any implications for that cameo or just for funsies? I would say that, again, this is a universe that we don't really telegraph our stuff up front too much. Yeah, so I would say keep reading, and if there is a plan for something like that, you will see, and it's probably not what you expect. Is just a promise that I would make because it's kind of what we do. So,
and as far as Owen reviews question here, I mean that's the Spawn covers across just about all the Massiveverse books was unrelated, right?
Yeah, just a completely coincidental image initiative. They were like, "Hey, do you guys all want to put Spawn on your covers?" And we were all like, "Yeah, we could do that for sure. We could do that." And that was sort of like in between Kyle meeting Todd and us getting the official approval. Just another thing that happened to happen at the same time.
I think I'm the only one that got to do medieval Spawn, though, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Maybe.
And I think, I mean, we also asked if we could do Bibiana merged with a Hellspawn. I think that was a French pitch.
French wanted to do
design.
like a hybrid, and it came out very cool.
Yeah.
I wasn't gonna reveal the medieval Rogue Sun character until we got that option, and then immediately asked Marco to draw that cover. So that wasn't intended. And then they were like, "Hey, do you want to use Spawn on a cover?" And I was like, "Oh, I can use the thing, and with the thing, let's do that." Yeah. So that was very exciting. Yeah, I've had half this bottle of wine, by the way, so we got a problem.
All right.
I did appreciate Matt bringing
You want to break
in
the next Supermassive?
Yes, let's do it.
I did appreciate Matt bringing in a pretty girl for BB to flirt with. That was really nice. So thank you for that.
Yeah, I mean, that we mentioned this on a podcast the other day, but there was, there's a dozen versions of this thing, right? But one of them was a lot more focused on a potential relationship, and it was almost like a romance comic in a lot of ways. And as the story shifted and the other elements we want to get into play came in, the shape of it had to change. But I think that's something that we held on to, was like, a little bit. We just want a little bit of that. We don't want to lose it entirely. Definitely some of my favorite pages of the book. I think it's. I was really happy with how those pages came out. But then when Daniele did the art, it's so sweet. Such a beautiful scene.
Yeah,
definitely. Were there, you talk about a couple of versions, were there any other versions of the challenges that you guys can think of that almost made it in?
I feel like those were pretty... We basically, like, not to peel away the curtain too much, but we were like, everyone should get a moment. Like, we have 4 characters. Let's make sure everyone gets a beat to the, like, let's let them all get to be a hero in their own specific way. Right? Part of the fun is showing what's cool about all of these characters. And I think that was basically it, Matt. We outlined them, right?
Yeah, I think it really came down to what we're trying to express about the characters in that moment. And then after you've sort of plotted that out, it's like, okay, does it feel like there's anything missing here in terms of the pacing and like the action of and that sort of thing? And I think that it fell into place pretty organically. I don't think there was any extras that we had to cut or anything that wasn't on the table.
Yeah.
No, I really appreciate it, especially for BB, because she's a soldier that specifically they designed the Horde mode room for BB to shine. I thought that was really fun. I got to write that scene, and I got to ask Daniele to do that crazy double page spread, and I was thrilled with the pages I got to write, so it was fun.
Also, everybody getting to shine a little bit in their own way in the scene in which they have to face their fears. Everybody gets their own. Oh, hey, Eduardo!
Eduardo.
Okay, I am a little concerned that no work is getting done on any of our books tonight because everyone is here. But that's fine.
Eduardo,
I will. I will brook no insinuations that Eduardo is not the world's hardest worker. That guy
Yeah,
is not shit.
that's absolutely fair.
You know, Eduardo actually posted a little teaser today of something that he's sketching. Well, not sketching, something that he's drawing. But it was a little layout sketch of a someone, actually a no one. But what that could be a part of, I wonder. But you'll all really.
I don't
like
think
it.
you wonder. I think you're lying. To
I
be
am.
honest,
I am.
I think this
actively
is fraudulent and deceptive.
lying. Deceptive practices.
Yeah.
I wanna. I don't know. I feel like I shouldn't ask, but should we go around?
Ooh.
Oh, who's voting for who? In the Radiant Black vote?
I'll tell you mine if you want. Actually, no, I can't because I know what happens. So my decision is based on actual knowledge of future stuff. So I don't want people
Well,
to know that.
depending on who wins, because there are different.
Yes, but that's the thing is I
That's what
know
I'm
what
saying.
happens. Yeah. So
I am unabashedly Team Nathan always. I love Marshall, but Team Nathan all the way.
Mm-hmm.
I want Justin Fields to be the new Radiant Black, but that's just my opinion. I don't. Maybe
is
I'm
that
wrong.
a sportsman?
Yes.
Sports faction? Yeah. Don't worry about it.
Spoiler, can we have Radiant Pink be Radiant Black?
Blackpink. Isn't that kind of?
Yeah,
Isn't that a group?
Radiant Dark Pink.
I don't think we can call the book Blackpink. I think we'll get.
Oh,
sued.
it would sell like hotcakes if we did, though.
But then who would be Radiant Pink?
Maddie.
Dylan.
Dylan, yes.
Okay, this is getting to be a lot, guys. Who would be
need a
Rogue
chart.
Sun?
Caleb. I don't know.
Maybe.
Ryan, you can't be Rogue Sun.
Oh, we could get meta with this. If anybody can get mad about being meta, it's not
Well,
you. man.
after
You
issue
can't-
100,
you can't get meta.
Yeah, there's going to be a Ryan
the
Parrott.
villain
Ryan
Ryan
Parrott.
Parrott will become Rogue Sun.
Just a little parrot in a metal outfit flying around with
Yes.
wings. It writes itself, guys.
Amazing.
I am like taking a stance of neutrality, the coward's path in the Nathan and Marshall debate. Because for the longest time, I thought that I couldn't vote because I thought it was like, an employee influencing the company competition or something.
Matt, what did you think was
I
happening?
obviously took it way too seriously. But since then, I'm like, I don't want to have to choose. And
That's why we're doing
I don't
it.
have to, so I'm not gonna.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
Have
leave that.
Choose,
Yeah.
Matt.
Nah, I don't though.
Matt, if you
Voting is
don't
compulsory in
choose,
Australia, but not for this.
if you don't choose, you let other people choose for you.
That's fine. I'm okay with that in these instances.
Yeah. This is gonna be fun. This is gonna
yeah.
be a fun one. So.
How was it?
Text me the Kyle. Text me the where we at later, so I know
I
where
will.
we're at.
I
Thanks.
will.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
like
it's been
knowing
fun.
inside info.
It's been fun to watch. Yeah, Matt, I have to fill you in on some stuff too.
I purposely don't want to know because if Marshall's winning, I'm gonna be a little bitchy about it. Social media.
At least you're honest about it.
Well, this is we're voting 400 times on like a with
Oh,
a,
my 10 different Google accounts.
So Lucas Suarez, I think that's how you're saying it, is asking, is it a close vote? And Michael, what we said at the start pretty much holds true. It is actually pretty close.
No one has ever had more than like 58% of the vote at any point.
Yeah.
It's been very close the whole time.
I didn't think no one was an option in the vote. I thought it was just.
Sorry,
Right,
there is actually a secret button that you can click to vote for no one to be Radiant Black.
Don't say that. People will.
That's
I
you.
just muted. I muted Matt for us. There we go.
There's a QR code, guys. If you put
Time
out
out.
your phone,
oh man.
If you don't vote and you close it, that's who gets counted for the vote. So Matt, you
Yeah.
actually voted for no one.
But make sure
Literally.
you sign up for the newsletter, even if you do that.
That's right.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, was there anything else that we wanted to touch on, Ryan? With
yeah, we
the
got a
actual
bit more.
Supermassive? Yeah.
We got a bit more time now. So if anybody has any other questions, throw them in the chat. We'll talk more about this. I'm trying to go back to earlier on.
Might
Go
take
ahead.
this opportunity to say that this came
Absolutely.
in the mail.
Oh,
to me,
God.
Ooh.
and
That
it,
gloss.
the gloss is freaking incredible.
is it a spot gloss, Matt?
It is a spot gloss.
Wow.
Just,
I see
just
it.
on IGR. It's so nice.
Wow.
Look at that beautiful, beautiful book. And it
That's
could be
awesome.
yours for the low price of whatever the retail, $17.99 US from early June. So go pre-order it if you haven't already, unless you have the Kickstarter hardcover, in which case you don't
Double up.
Go pre-order it and give it to a friend.
Yeah.
Yeah, do that. I think it's a very shareable book. So absolutely do that.
Radiant Pink also came out today.
Yes, number
Somebody-
5.
Somebody in the chat asked if Maddie Marshall was just a Melissa thing or if I had Kyle's approval. Nothing in Radiant Pink goes out without Kyle's approval. So I would say he's at least open to the idea.
I will say that I read that page and I put a note in that I was like, yeah, I think this is good. We should do this. They'd be a nightmare, an absolute nightmare. But
no, it's amazing.
Yeah, it we'll see.
I'm sorry, I just saw Abel wrote IGR is so beautiful. Which I was like, yeah, absolutely. But sorry.
IGR is so beautiful. Yep.
That is
not wrong.
amazing new slang.
Yes.
Adopted immediately.
We've got one from Philippe right here that says, well, thus far we have Will Friedle, Patton Oswalt, and Tom Shastwick all being part of the Massiverse as well as Kim Possible. Any chance we see a Christy Carlson Romano in the Massiverse?
Anything's possible in the Massiverse.
That's right.
I do know Christy Carlson Romano a little bit through Will. If there's something really cool, it's the right fit. Like, I would totally ask. So we'll see. Maybe.
We also got Christina V, who voices BB in the trailer. That was really cool too.
Hell yeah.
was she on Kim Possible?
She was.
Okay.
She's on everything else, like
Literally everything else. Yeah, that's
hundreds
fair.
of credits.
Yeah, and Kyle has not introduced me to Rachel Lee Cook yet, and we are no longer friends.
Yeah.
Oh, I met Rachel Lee Cook. She's lovely.
I'm gonna murder you on this podcast.
Have you met Will Friedle? I still somehow haven't met Will Friedle.
No. Yes, I have. Yes.
Ah, see, we're even.
Oh yeah, he came by our table that show. Yeah.
And then who was the other guy that was with him that we were at the airport? Remember the voice of yeah, who I didn't know who he was. Thank God.
It was Troy Baker.
Yeah. So I didn't
really?
embarrass myself.
Who is
It's good.
in as many things as Christina V is, basically.
It's so great when you don't know who famous people are and you just treat them like normal people, and then you find out 15 minutes later how amazing they are, and you're like, oh,
Yeah,
thank God.
Ryan helped me. Ryan and I had cracked something a few minutes earlier at dinner that you all know about, but the rest of the world doesn't know about yet, that we were very excited about. And we were at the show in Denver with Will and Troy and a whole host of other people. And so, we bumped into Will at the gate. And then immediately I told him about this. And I was like, we're going to do this. And he's like, okay. And that's as much of a tease as I am going to give.
Owens Reviews is asking about the vote. How do you have it all planned out, Kyle? Do you have 2 different scripts planned out depending on the winner?
Can I try and tackle this spoiler free, Kyle?
Yep.
Yeah.
Without wanting to say too much, because part of the fun is finding out what happens. Kyle and Marcelo and I have talked very long and very in depth about if Nathan wins, what will happen, and if Marshall wins, what will happen. And we are basically like, we're waiting to see who wins the vote, and then we'll pull a lever one way or the other.
That's right. All right, Fanboy Clay 10. Did Thomason's Inferno Girl Red Morpher go to Cassia's Earth, or is there another Inferno Girl Red somewhere on what we would call Earth, Prime Earth?
Nope, that bracelet went to Cassia. Not directly. There's a great deal of time and many people in between there, but there's one bracelet and many universes, and one chain connecting Inferno Go Red through time between different universes.
Awesome.
I will say the design of the bracelet changes, so it seems to be able to morph its appearance somewhat based on who it's connecting with. And we have some... Erica did the designs for both Thomason and Medieval Inferno Go Red. And in that, there's a close-up study of the Medieval bracelet, which is very cool. We're trying to figure out when we'll show that to you all, but yeah, I think there'll be something cool to see when we share that in that concept art.
Awesome.
Oops, sorry.
Nope, you go ahead.
Tyler MC asks, will we be getting more merch in the Black Market store? I noticed the issue-themed shirts ended a few issues back. That is true. We did drop off on the every issue exclusive shirt on Radiant Black, but it was purely for bandwidth reasons.
Yeah,
So,
you noticed
yeah.
that we were able to sell more other stuff like issues and comics and everything like that. It's mostly bandwidth.
Yeah,
I can
But
tell you that-
I noticed Tyler also wants a No One shirt, and yes, we got to put some No One shirts up.
yeah.
Tyler, there will not be a Rogue and Inferno Girls Red 0 and Rogue Sun. There will not be that shirt. That shirt will not be on the site.
Yeah.
So, sorry, buddy.
I will say that on my list for several months now has been more shirt designs. And as soon as we knock off like 6 to 7 other projects, I promise that there will be some new stuff in the shop for you.
If you guys haven't seen that Inferno Go Red design that Michael did, the black and white one, you should check it out. It's so cool. I bought one of those for several people that I know.
I really want to get some Dead Lucky stuff up there too. So, because I think she's got such a cool design.
Hell
But
yeah.
I want to wear some shirts with it.
Absolutely.
It's purely selfish motivation. But
Oh, I mean,
Excellent.
literally, like, we make these so that we can wear them ourselves.
Yeah. Here, actually, let me just share this real quick.
wow.
Just so you can see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
That's a
spicy.
great one.
It goes so hard.
Oh, I love all the different options you got too. That's cool. I should go to the
Yeah,
site.
we actually have for, for anyone. So we have a featured tab here that has everything up. Got a nice Rogue Sun shirt here, Ryan.
Oh, my one design. We're working on it. I promise.
We're
got some more-
working on it.
we got some stuff. It's on my list actually. Yeah.
Yeah. And then the other thing though is you can actually go and look by collection set at different things we have available. And we have stuff in the vault, Ryan, that we may be bringing
That
out.
we should pull out. hmm
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Actually, Michael, before we move on to the next question, as far as merch goes, there's a bunch of stuff we're working on. Is there anything that you can tease?
Yeah,
I don't
'cause
trust
there's
me to
questions
tease.
about that.
Okay,
Mhm.
okay. I designed something this week
Yes,
that
you did.
is a life goal design thing. The people we're working on it with have absolutely knocked it out of the park. We will be announcing it within the next few months, I think is fine to say. And I cannot wait to be talking about this in public.
I was so
It's-
blown away.
It's so exciting.
I'm the same way as Michael's. Like, I've always wanted this thing,
Yeah.
but then to see the execution of it, I couldn't have imagined it would go so well.
I love when
Ryan, do you
someone's
know what
like,
this is?
I want to let Marshall cook shirt.
I can do that. That might happen this afternoon. That's
Instead
not
of just Team Marshall, Team Nathan, it's just let Marshall or let Nathan cook. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, we could do a Dead Lucky cookbook and then just put a picture of one.
Also on my list is the Massive Verse cookbook. It has notes already. There's a lot of food that shows up in these books, and I think we could do something cool.
We've got a really good pizza. What was it? Uncle Pete? Pizza Pete? No, what was?
We can't have called it Pizza Pete.
No, that's a real place in
It was
Chicago.
Uncle something because Marshall thought it was his actual uncle.
Yeah, I think it was Uncle Pete's. We've got an Uncle Pete's pizza recipe for you ready to go.
We'll have a Dylan I hate beignets beignet recipe. That'll be awesome.
That's only because Dylan hasn't met Mitch yet.
Is anybody prepared to answer whether or not they will be doing a con tour this summer? You know anything off the top of your heads where you'll be appearing? Tim Rooney's asking.
Yeah, so I am getting ready to do. I'm actually going to be doing a signing the weekend, June 10th, I believe, in the Napa Valley. There's some stores, Zeppelin Comics. I'm going out for that. But as far as conventions proper, we'll be doing San Diego Comic-Con, and then immediately out, and we'll have a huge Massiverse panel there. I think. So Melissa, you'll be down there. Actually, Melissa and Ryan Sidoti, you'll both be there. Ryan Parrott, you will not be there, as I understand it. And
My
Matt
brother's
and
getting
Michael
married. Sorry.
are across the world. So, yeah. But we'll be doing San Diego and doing some pretty cool stuff there. And then the next weekend, I'll be at GalaxyCon Raleigh for 4 days in Raleigh, North Carolina. And we're going to have a big Massiverse presence at Raleigh. And then I think there's a few more coming up. I think I have Boston, Fan Expo Boston or Boston.
Oh, cool. Me
Comic-Con.
too.
Oh, are we?
Yeah.
We're both doing that. Yeah. So
Yeah,
that's
August
like right after
4th
San
to the
Diego.
7th, right? Yeah.
Yep. And then New York.
I will say, not locked in yet. I am hoping to be at New York as well this year.
Oh, really?
That
I'm not even going to New York. Look at you.
Wow.
I would also
fancy.
say that at this point it is contingent on me successfully robbing a bank. But if you hear of any successful bank heists, I've found the money to get to New York and I'll be there.
I'm going to Chicago end
Oh,
of
yeah.
June for the American Library Association conference with Kyle, so that'll be fun. And
That's right,
I'm
we're
also
doing
doing
that.
San Diego Comic Con. I haven't been able to really plan any other cons because work was a little overwhelming for a point, but I'm freeing up, and then maybe I can do some more.
Yeah, I'll be at Fan Expo Boston in August, and I'll be at Fan Expo Miami in September 9th, which was ridiculous because the Miami Dolphins, who are my favorite team, are playing the Los Angeles Chargers in LA while I'm in Miami. That makes no freaking sense whatsoever. Anyways, I know you all care.
We do.
do.
Hal's 182. I owe you a comic. I'm getting there. I promise. I've seen your chat thing. We're getting a book too. I promise.
Any chance he's asking, just since you mentioned it, he's asking any chance of a London signing. I would love to do that if we can find someone to get us there.
Kyle, can we make that happen?
Well, I'm not sure about London, but we do actually have some really cool international publishing partners for the Massiverse. Salda Press in Spain. Or sorry, not that. The Salda
Italy.
Press is in Italy. Norma in Spain and Delcourt in France. Norma in Spain in particular, I don't know how you all feel about Spain, but they're putting quite the resources behind our stuff right now. I have some emails from them that are pretty cool as far as the Massiverse Spanish presence. So we do a London signing by way of a tour through Spain first.
Oh, that sounds like such hard work.
I heard very good things about the Italian Comic Cons as well. Like those would be incredible.
Yep.
Yeah, I just saw the Italian version of the Rogue Sun trade. It's amazing. Like some of the international stuff is the quality is amazing. Like you're just like, wow, I wish we had that same stuff here. That's not me digging at all at the people who do the stuff we do. That's all wonderful. But I'm just saying the international stuff's really good.
They are.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I know some people have asked about other countries as well. That stuff is a little out of our hands. Basically, if there's a publisher in a country that is wanting to publish our stuff, they just need to get in touch with Image, and then it's sort of, fun contract stuff. If you are in a country where we don't bring our books, and you'd like that to happen, the people to talk to are people who already import comics, basically.
Yeah.
George asked about queer characters in the Massiverse, and I will say that that's something that is really important for the Dead Lucky since it takes place in San Francisco. So George asked, there are a lot of incredible queer characters in the Massiverse books. Are there any others on the way, especially some gay men? I can't speak too much because I don't want to give spoilers, but yes, we are definitely we have, for me especially, obviously being a queer writer, queer representation is really big for me, especially right now. So yeah, I would expect to see some more queer characters coming in issues 7 through 12 for Dead Lucky, and I'm sure the other guys are thinking things through, but I don't want to speak for them. But.
Yeah, and I mean, we don't have any more Inferno Girl books announced at this point, so I don't want to say anything too definitively. But yes, there's yeah, some that we're thinking about.
And I will say, George, big fan of yours. You have always been an incredible proponent and just help fan of the Power Ranger stuff that we've always done. And I cannot wait to meet you someday and give you a big hug because you're the best. So thanks for coming on here, man.
Yeah, same.
100%.
All right. Let's see.
So real quick.
I saw that's good.
Since Marshall doesn't have a last name, I think his name should be Marshall Cook. Well, unfortunately for you, I did decide on a last name for Marshall already.
Truly, like 2 days ago, you missed out by this much.
Higgins.
Marshall Cook sounds good though. I don't know.
Wow.
So Marshall's last name is Ward. Marshall Ward.
Oh,
That's good too. That's good
any
too.
Batman reference there?
I have no comment on that.
What's a Batman?
What's a Batman?
It's sort of like No One.
Oh, right. Okay.
Burn.
Yeah.
All right. Well, before me and Ryan get into Dolphins versus Buffalo Bills, we should probably
do that.
call it there. So thank you all for coming out. This has been great.
Yeah, thank you to everyone for watching.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's been delightful. We should do more.
So-
of this. That's fun.
Just a couple shout outs here. Dead Lucky number 7, June 7th. That's coming up real soon. Grab that. We also have the return of Rogue Sun with Rogue Sun 13. That's June 14th. So we got those are the next two, right? Unless I've got dates wrong, Michael.
You do. Sorry. Rogue
So
Sun
Image
13
has dates
is
wrong.
Rogue Sun 13 is June 21st.
Okay.
And the
I'm
Dead
very bad at my
Lucky-
job. So yes, thank you.
The Dead Lucky 7 will be July 5th.
Also
shoot.
very bad at my job. So sorry.
New
That's all
arcs are
good.
hard, guys. We're working as hard as we can.
Hey,
I was like,
Matt.
I'll check the Image site right before we get on and see if they have the latest.
They should. I hope they do.
But that means everybody's back in July, right? Because Radiant Black 25.
Yeah, June, July.
Like I
Everybody's
say, dude.
back. Everybody's kicking off. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Awesome.
The only other thing I want to say, sorry, there have been a lot of questions that we haven't been able to get to. If people want to jump like over to Twitter or over to the Radiant Black Podcast's Discord, I'm just going to be sitting here working all day. I'm happy to answer a bunch more questions, like if people have got them, and everyone else can pop in or out of there or on Twitter. So please come and ask us them, and we will have a chat.
Yeah.
Should
All right,
we?
then.
Is there anything we can show before we leave? There was a request in the
let's
chat.
spoil
to
something.
see- There was a request in the chat to see in the Inferno Girl Red medieval
Character sheet.
character sheet, which I have.
Oh, that's a
have
good one.
here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't
right.
know how Matt feels about that. Yeah.
I mean, I probably should ask Erica before I do that, but we're here now. So
Erica, I'm sorry, it's my fault.
If she cared, she would have been here like everyone else. I'm kidding.
No,
I
it's
don't
like
know
middle
what
of the
time
night
it is in
Italy.
Italy. Yeah.
I'm kidding. I know.
Can I say something really quickly? Like
yeah.
you guys rock. Like all the fans who are on here right now talking to us, like somebody made a point. They were like, Ryan does a lot of random AMAs on the Discord. Yeah, because like one, I don't want to write, I'm lazy, but two, it's so much fun to actually talk to you guys about the stuff. Like you like the books and you ask really good questions that make me go, oh yeah, I got to work harder at my job. So I really appreciate that. But like, thank you guys all for coming on here. Every single one of you. I've been reading the chat as we go along. You guys rock. Like I know a lot of you guys now personally, and like this is gonna sound weird, but like we work harder because you guys hold us to a higher standard. Like you hold us at, you guys pay attention and you ask interesting questions, and because of that, you make us make the book better. So I have found that when I do a random AMA, it usually works its way into the book and makes it better. So thank you for that.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I appreciate that as well, Ryan, because it gave me a chance to close all the confidential things I didn't want to accidentally screen share.
That's what I'm here for.
Oh, I've got
So,
it up.
I can
Matt,
see
if
my
you want.
window. Oh, you got it?
Yeah, I
cool.
got it
Yeah,
too.
you can share it. Cool.
Okay.
Yeah, off you go.
Abel, you're the
go.
best. Thanks for making me look better. Oh,
Oh.
wow.
I haven't seen
right?
this before. This is cool.
Look at the little wings on the back there. That's fantastic.
I love the
Mhm.
shield.
Yeah.
God, it's a real shame we killed her, huh?
Yeah.
If only there was a prequel.
You have Thomason as well, Kyle?
I do actually. Let me pull it up. Unless you have it handier.
Yes, I think I do. Share screen, window. Here we go. Share. Can you see that?
No.
You cannot?
Nope.
Oh,
badge
here we
up.
are. Here we
Ah,
are.
There.
aha.
Oh, there's yeah.
So yeah, she's got her own bracelet design,
That's great.
and some smaller details that might have gone unseen in Supermassive.
Hey, Matt, can we make that bracelet? Is that a thing we can do?
Oh,
I want to make both of the bracelets very, very much.
Yeah,
So
cool.
yeah, I mean, like bracelet guy over here as well. So yeah, let's do it.
Cool. Let's do it.
So, Kyle, what's Marshall going to do with that staff?
Get Ryan some more wine, I think. What
I
is
was want to
Marcus
give a lot
doing?
of love to these guys though. Like it's so rare that we have such a group of independent creators that all are so freaking talented, and they're so I'm so excited to work with every single day and to see, like, I genuinely miss these guys when I don't get to see them very often. And
Yeah,
and
likewise.
everything that you guys are doing is amazing, and I'm just so happy to be part of this world with you. So
Oh, thank you.
Aw.
Yeah, back at you. It's been
You're
great
okay.
to have this little team together. Yeah.
that has been the fun part about this whole sort of doing press for it. It's like get to see you guys all again, which is
Yeah.
usually when I see Michael, it's like, hey man, how's that script coming along? And so it's nice to just talk to him in a
Hey,
more
man.
less official way.
How's that script coming along?
It's not going well.
Okay. Call me.
So,
we can
Michael,
talk about it.
Do we have anything to spoil? Can
Anything?
Mr. Massiverse, can the supreme leader of the Massiverse gift us with
Nothing we
any
want to
or-
spoil yet on the Dead Lucky.
do you want to spoil
There's
the
no-
recipe at least, or at least say what it's going to be?
Oh, you can say what the recipe's going to be. That's fun.
I'm trying to remember what it is. Hold on.
Kyle, I guess the only thing that we could potentially spoil would be if you wanted to show one Catalyst War page.
Oh,
One. Do you see the one? Not two. Two's too many, but one.
Okay, I could do that.
come on, I want to see it.
I could do that.
Or if you don't want to show a page, you could show the covers for issue 27.
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay.
Let's do that. Does the chat want to see the covers?
Page or cover?
No, we're gonna do the
Kyle's gonna
covers.
leak the whole book.
That's why I don't want to do. Well, because we have colors in, but I think we had some corrections we were gonna do, so I was gonna.
Okay.
So, okay. Do you guys? You want to see both? No, we're not doing that.
What?
Michael, do you have them?
Yeah, I've got him. Give me 1 sec.
Let Kyle cook.
By the way, the recipe for issue 7 is salt and pepper chicken chicharron.
Oh,
I like it.
Yeah.
When are we gonna grill and make all of this food?
I mean, I'm hungry now, honestly.
This will be the next big massive party. It'll just be a big grill. Imagine like the Rogue Sun theming you could do at the Massiveverse grill. That'd be incredible.
Okay, so this first is the A cover. So it's the left side.
Mm-hmm.
Can you all see that?
Nope.
Not yet. It takes a
Not
second.
yet. There we go.
Here we go.
Oh, these are in CMYK though, Mike.
Oh, it's beautiful.
And that's the right side.
Oh, nice.
Mm-hmm.
Hell yeah.
Who are those guys?
Ugh, it looks bad.
you guys don't even know.
I think
Just
they're
fucking
that's
cool.
Radiant Black from the Image series.
Yes.
Radiant Black. Mhm.
The really fun things about being friends with Kyle is that he tells you stuff way ahead of time, and you got to wait like a year for the coolest stuff to happen. But you like get to know it way earlier. So that's really why I write comic books, just so I can hear cool stuff from Kyle.
Someone told Ryan recently that they were pretty sure I make comic books just so I can promote the books. They
meant it as a compliment.
Sure. I mean, they're not. I don't think they're wrong. Like, it's funny though, because the promoting of the books is not promoting to me. It's like it's this narrative, like, I don't know. It's this whole other thing. But yes, they're not wrong.
All right, gang.
Wait,
We
I
get
like
a
all
call
the
time.
002, 003, 004.
Yeah, they're the zero.
That's
the
good.
002 species. Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh man. Awesome. All right. Well,
Yeah.
Is there anything else? Let's see. I think the only other thing, I mentioned this in the newsletter today, we have the next issue of Deep Cuts. This is non-Massiverse, but this is out on Wednesday. And this takes place in 1928, New York and Chicago. Helena Massey, I think is how we say it, or I've never actually said it out loud. Marcellus, possibly, and our Massiverse partner Igor Monti on colors, doing a stunning 1928. New York,
I just want to be clear.
Chicago.
Igor's colors on this are some of the most insane shit I have ever seen in a comic book. Like, it's just, it's unlike anything I've ever seen anywhere else.
Let me
He's
find some good.
I've like said before that I think that Igor's colors and IGR are some of the best coloring in comics, but I didn't realize until I saw Deep Cuts that that's just like one thing he can do. And actually, he's an incredible colorist in a million different ways and different ranges. Like, whatever you task him with, he'll do something truly spectacular.
Totally.
Yeah. He's amazing.
also it's a cool
Deep,
book. It's about jazz.
Deep Cuts issue 1 was awesome. It was so good. It was really a great book. In fact, it was the first comic book my wife actually like wanted to read. She saw it,
really?
and I was like, "Oh yeah, it's about jazz." She doesn't read comics or anything like that, and she was super into reading it. So, yeah, I thought that was pretty neat. I meant to tell you that before, but
Oh, that's awesome.
and what else did I say? Oh, and if we're talking about other books, for anyone that hasn't caught up on No One issue 3 and the accompanying podcast does like exactly what like a while ago when you pitched the idea of a podcast being after and tying into the comic, does what I had always hoped it would become. And it's incredible. It's one of the coolest comic book experiences I've had in my life. It is amazing how you pulled off issue 3 of No One, dude. It's so good.
There's a level of connectedness between issue 3 and episode 3 in particular of No One, where scenes as Julia becomes more involved in the story herself, she's still producing the podcast as well, and so her recording and coverage of things ends up then being performed on the podcast, on the audio series. And so this one in particular is like, I mean, down to like it's word for word. Like we're very diligent about that stuff, and as well as some of our cool viral videos and things like that. No one had his data drop video this past a few weeks ago, so there's more coming.
Yep.
Yeah, I specifically stay at issue behind so I don't spoil anything and make a mistake.
Oh. Yeah. All right. Well, I think actually, you know what? That'll be the last thing here. Just because we haven't done this before. Let's see if this works. So this was the last video that no one dropped after issue 2.
Kyle, is this you?
Not on my knees.
This is the police. We are ordering you to get down on the ground.
Albert Mixon, coward, deceiver. You sick your dogs on me instead of hunting for the real criminals. And then you lie to save face, to curry political favor. I did not attack the police. I was attacked by them. Their corruption will be revealed. I have video proof of their incompetence. You have 1 week. Tell the people of this city the truth about what happened, Albert. Tell them why you want me as your scapegoat, or I'll show them. No one.
And then for anyone who didn't see it, if I can find it here, Chief Mixon had a response. So you can go to our in-universe site, The Drop, the-drop.info, and this is actually what it looks like here. So we have episode 3 up there, and then under recent coverage, it's the new article by Julia, which is also a part of the show notes for episode 3. So you always want to remember to dive through the show notes on each of these, because there's all sorts of specific stuff that we build just for the podcast and for the overall no one experience. There we go.
So great.
Awesome.
All right.
Well, thank you all so much for jumping on here, and yeah, we should do this again sometime.
Yeah.
Yeah, and thanks to Ryan Sidoti for hosting us. And
Thank you, Ryan.
Oh,
in-
thanks for
in the master
thanks for-
proceedings.
Thank you for having
Thank
me.
you very much.
Appreciate it, guys. All right. That does it. Kyle, you want to hit the outro video?
Yeah, we can do that. Do we have an outro video? Is it just our glitch graphic?
Yeah, let's just do that again.
All right, we'll just go to that.
Have a good one, guys.
All right.
Everybody.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
Take care.
You guys rock.
Stay massive.
Black narrative. Black narrative.